In this program, we're going to learn about arrays. So an array is a list of information, and they work a little bit like strings in terms of how they store data. So we're going to see how we can use these. So in this program, Array Basics, we're going to create a program to track your friends and how much money they have, just so that we can have two different types of data. So I've already got the scanner and the number format imported here because they're going to be used for reading in information as well as formatting the money value we have here. So what we're going to start with is we'll create our input object. So scanner input equals new scanner system.in, and then we'll have our standard number format. So number format money equals number format dot get currency instance. Okay. So here's how we're going to create a list of data. So this is going to be kind of like we're going to have a string value with 5 string elements. So sorry, this should be a string array with 5 string elements. So one of the important things is that when you create one, you have to have a consistent type of data in them. You can't have like a string and then an integer followed by a double. We use other structures like classes in order to do that. So when I'm declaring this, you first put the type, which is going to be a string, and then you're going to open and close square brackets. The square brackets indicate that this is going to be an array, and we're going to see how we use square brackets in terms of accessing elements from those arrays. So we're going to call this friends and give it the value of, and we're going to create it with 5 elements. We're going to list them explicitly here. So we're going to have our first friends, first sequence of friends. Let's say Chris, JC, Lance, Justin, and Joey. There we go. So this is our list of friends. Again, we know that it's an array because we've noted it with this. And in curly braces, what we can do is we can list, separated by commas, as many elements as we want. We're also going to do this with an amount of money here. So our double array is going to become bank. So we'll refer it as bank, and we'll just put an amount of money that each of these people has. So like 1476, the second person maybe 1584, Lance here. So they're going to be in terms of Chris will have this much, JC will have this much, Lance will have, let's say, $111.11. $20.04 and $34.44. The actual value doesn't matter too much here, just sort of doing this as an example. So really, this is how we explicitly declare an array with which elements are actually in all of the spaces of the list. So what we're also going to do is we're going to create a couple empty ones so that you can see the difference between these. So later on, we're going to create a new list of friends, and we're going to need 5 new friends. So the way we would do that one is we're going to have strings still with the square brackets. This is going to be our new friends list. And just like a class, we are going to have this new space string, And here, when we're not saying it's this value, this value, this value, we still should typically create a size for it. So I'm going to put a 5 here. So both the friends and the new friends list will have the same amount of elements in them. These ones will just be declared, and then these ones will not. And then we'll do the same thing underneath. Double, let's call this new bank, is going to be a new double array with 5 elements. There we go. So these are the two typical ways that you create these things before you're ready to use them. Okay, so what can we do with this? So let's do a system.out.println. Let's do friends 3. And then we'll do another one right under it. New bank. Sorry, not new bank. Bank 3. So what we're going to get is we're going to get the third element of friends, and then we're going to get the third element of bank printed one line after the other. So we'll run this. Take a look at what we have. Oh my gosh. That is a typo. Try that again. So what? Oh, number format. There we go. Hopefully that's the last typo that I've done. There we go. So what we get is from friends 3 and bank 3, we get Justin and 20.04. So the way this works is we get this element, which is the fourth element in position 3, just like a string. So it works like this: position 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we get Justin here that has $20.04. Now, what would happen if we decide to display the third element from new friends and new bank? So I'm going to copy and paste this, and I'll change the names of the arrays that we're pulling from. So we're going to go new friends and new bank. So if I run this, here's what we get. So new friends, when you create a new string array, it sets all of the values to null, which basically means nothing. And when you create a new double array, it sets all the values to 0.0. So there are elements. It does take up just as much, essentially just as much space as a full array. It's just sort of like ready to receive some data. Okay. So what can we do with this? The first thing is we can display all of the elements in one of these. So let's do a system.out.println. This one is going to be my list of friends. And then we'll display it here. So what we want to do is we want to print the elements from the friends array with how much money they have. So we'll do all of that stuff at the same time. So for that, maybe you figured it out already. We're going to be using a for loop. So for int I gets the value 0 because we're going to start in position 0, while I is less than friends.length. So length here is going to contain how many elements are in the array. We use less than because, again, an array with 5 elements has the last position 4. We don't actually want to get to position 4. And we'll do I++. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to traverse the array. So important word, traverse the array. And then we're going to print the elements one at a time. So each time we do this, it's system.out.println, and we're going to format it like this. So we'll display friends, element I. So it's going to carry us from 0 to 4. So we're first going to display friends element I plus, let's say money equals plus, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a money dot format on bank element I. So we'll run this. Okay. And here's what we get. So what we're going to get is the my list of friends. It lists all the names of the friends, puts the word money, and then displays how much money they have. So that's a pretty common thing to do, is traverse the array and then do something with each element kind of as you go. So now another thing that we commonly do, which also requires a traversal, is instead of printing the elements, we're going to load new elements into new friends. And this would work just as well, if we were replacing the elements from the regular friends one that we started with, but we're going to do it this way. So I'm going to just copy and paste my my for loop here. I'm going to make sure that I am putting the current array that I'm working on, because we're going to be using new friends. Although they're the same length, you should probably put the name of the array you're really working with here. Okay, so each time we go through this, so we're going to go system.out.print, enter new friend, and then we'll have it display this. We're going to go I. And then we're going to go new friends, element I, gets the value of input dot next line. Okay. So let's take a look at what happens here. So this is one where I've got some errors, and we're going to work through fixing them. So I've got friend 0. We'll put as Jerry. This will be Victoria. But you know what? I'm not liking this 0, 1. So what I want to do is I want to fix this and have it go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would just want to show you this because it can happen, and it's a good reminder that this is how strings work when you're outputting variables in strings. Watch what happens here when I run it. If I run this program again and I want to input these values, it's just taking a moment here. Here we go. If I pull this up, let's see what happens. I've got enter new friend 0, 1, which is also not what I wanted. So what it did was it put 0 and then treated this as a string with the value 1. So what we want to do is, if we want to add 1 to a variable value in an output like this, we use parentheses so that it'll actually see that this is a mathematical operation, and then I will get it loaded correctly. So we'll be able to load all of the new elements right there. Okay. Now what we often want to do is sometimes we want to load random numbers. So I'm going to put some random values here. The operational array here is going to be new bank. So make sure you change the name up there. That's important. And we're going to have new bank element I, get the value of, let's say, we'll make a random number here, math.random times 3000 divided by 100, and I'm going to put a 0.0 here so that it'll still generate something that is a double value so it doesn't get confused. Okay, so I'm going to read in the names. I'm going to randomly generate the numbers. And now we're going to display this list in a little bit of a different way. So here's a different way that you can do this. My new list of friends. Okay, so this is going to print the elements from new friends in a little bit of a different way. So we're going to do 4, and this is different. What we're going to do is we're going to declare a string value for this slightly modified for loop that really is designed to work with arrays. And new friends. And that's it. That's setting this one up. So you'll see in just a second what this does. System.out.println will go S here. Okay, so let's see what this loop is doing. If I run this, my new friends are Jerry, Victoria, let's say Emma, Mel C, and Mel B. There we go. Okay, so just like the other one, it actually displays all of the names here. So what is it actually doing here? So here, each iteration, S becomes a new value from the array. And it traverses one element at a time. So this is a very specialized for loop for this. So we create a variable that has the same type as the array. And what it does is it just goes through the array one element at a time, and every time S becomes the next element of the array. It doesn't really keep track of its index in any meaningful way that we can use. It just becomes each value in succession. So what's another thing that we can do with this? We're going to make a new variable here called total bank. And this time, we'll get the value of the total amount of money that all of these people have. So for, and we're going to use double M for money, and we're going to go pull from new bank. And then each time we go through, I'm going to put total bank plus equals M. And then our last stage here is I'm going to put system.out.println the average new friend value. We'll just boil them down to a value based on how much money they have, is going to be money.format. And we're just going to take the total bank divided by new bank.length. And this is going to give us an average for how much money they have. I mean, we could have displayed it. Just sometimes we use this for some kind of calculation. So putting in our values here one last time, Jerry, Victoria, Emma, Mel C, and Mel B. It generates all of their values randomly, and then I get a result at the end. Okay, so an array, again, is a list of information. We can declare it in two different ways. And there are two ways that we use to traverse. This first one, where you actually have two different arrays that we're pulling from, you could not use this second method to do. You actually need to generate the index that you want to access from both at the same time. And then you've got the second method where you declare a variable and then it goes through each of them one element at a time and becomes each element. So these are incredibly powerful because they allow you to do loops for large amounts of data, and you're going to see a lot of this in the programs that are coming up.